Hello, my friend. Good to see you today. I hope you're doing well. Just wanted to quickly beg of you to please join our subreddit r/MrRipper, where we curate many of the stories that end up here on the channel. Much higher likelihood we'll see it if you post it there. However, if you have a weird class race backstory, feel free to drop it in the comments below. Now, this video is brought to you in part by Craig's Cottage, but we'll touch on that in a second. Firstly, what is the weirdest class race backstory you've ever come up with? Part 2. I'm currently playing as a Tiefling Ranger. He speaks in fluent Elvish, the language of his mentor, but broken Common, almost caveman speak. He doesn't realize he can understand Infernal, as the other Tiefling in our party is the only other one he's ever met. He's highly curious, innocent, but mischievous. He's a skilled hunter, but has no idea how to handle other people, and he has no memory of any life before the last 3 years. All because my Tiefling used to be a fox, given a new form with the wish spell. This was my way of setting a Tiefling in Eberron, with no connections to their darker elements there. If you, like me, are equal parts dice goblin and fashionista, you will know that eventually we all get to a point where our dice tray runneth over, filled with the endless tactile satisfaction of clicky clacks and math rocks. And that old Crown Royal bag, while praiseworthy for its use of complementary colors, ain't such a cute look as the felt begins to fade. But a fuzzy little goddamn cactus? Cute as hell. Crochet Cthulhu? Certified adorable. A sweet little mind flayer dice bag. Are you kidding me? That is 100% blessed. Let's go. Now, in addition to making possibly the most adorable little dice bags in the world, Craig is also a longtime fan and supporter of the channel and very active member of our community. So please go show our dear and darling friend some love. www.etsy.com/shop/Craig's Cottage and flex on all your tabletop friends with your adorable new dice bag. Craig, thank you so much for all the love and support you give this channel, my guy. We couldn't do this without you. Love you, brother. I went with a winged tiefling and added a spin onto his backstory by making his parents human, which meant he was cursed. Garus, my character, was hated by his father and was beaten, often. Garus let it happen for years, slowly building up rage and spite towards his father. Eventually, his father decided he didn't want Garus alive, so he tried to kill Garus with a knife. Garus overpowered his dad and killed him with the knife. Garus was arrested and given 2 choices due to his father's cruelty: death or redemption. Kanku, rogue, inquisitive. Yes, it does sound ordinary, but no, it's not. He was a detective and owned the Moonlit Feather Detective Agency, was actually neutral good, and was quite rich at level 1. He had been hired by an unknown benefactor to follow the party and report back on if they were a threat to the city or not. Between me and the DM, with my backstory, the DM allowed me to start my character at level 10 before the campaign even started, while everyone else started at level 1. He informed me that I was extremely experienced, and had the wealth of a level 10 due to the success of my business. However, as I was undercover, I was required to hold back and pretend that I wasn't experienced. All the while, I was reporting back to the lords of the city the characters' actions and crimes they committed. They were at level 5, and I was at level 12 by the time someone finally realized I was not who I claimed I was. In 5th edition, I have potentially made one of my most attaching and lovable joke characters ever. It is an acid-spitting, acid-eating dragonborn barbarian with dwarfism named Shrimp Smallfry. He is 4 foot 3 inches tall and was banished from the dragonborn village once he was at the age of being able to take care of himself, even though he was far from being able to, and ended up being taken care of by a goddess, who I forget the name of currently. I will need to find my character sheet and find the background story there, but it is a sad backstory for what is a lovable character that is too stupid to know what's even going on. His favorite thing to say most of the time is, shrimp! Other than that, it's a classic barbarian speech with, shrimp eat rock, or shrimp smack evil pointy hat man. He hates gnomes, also. Forgot why he does, but he does. I made a fallen Aasimar Paladin warlock who dedicated his life to severing the control of all outsiders on the plane. No gods, no angels, no devils or demons. His whole goal was to remove the corruption, the war, the games for power, the mad cultists trying to curry favor, all of it. He views all the horrible tragedies and cruelties on the world as the fault, influence of outsiders, whether true or not. He was incredibly dedicated to this cause and would not be shaken from this. This isn't so much a weird class race, but I actually haven't played D&D yet and wanted my first character to be a changeling, disguised as a high elf wizard necromancer. His story is that his family 200 years ago had multiple low-level necromancy users and all worked together to make it seem like it was one huge evil necromancer controlling the undead. They then staged an attack on a city, village, whatever it happens to be, and they have one of their family disguised as a high elf wizard who saves the town by turning the undead away. So the town now is indebted to this high elf and love him. For the next 200 years, they have passed the high elf persona through their family, and my character wants to actually learn powerful necromancy to actually protect the city, village, whatever, in case the situation ever should arise. He also wants to gain immortality from death by age, so his family doesn't have to stay in the town forever, and he can maintain the persona himself. Kurg Horbath, half-ogre orphaned from some unknown conflict and left at the doorstep of a monastery. Well, turns out the monastery was a front for a ninja clan thieves guild, and the brothers took him in since half-ogres are known to grow very strong, and a lack of better sensibilities meant they'd have the perfect workhorse around the place. With a beginning intelligence of 8, he wasn't going to be easy to play. But I followed the ninja spirit warrior path, insisting he would work his hardest to become an honorable member of the clan. Failing the first tests as a spirit warrior, you're supposed to be able to pass through walls without a trace, one of the pinnacle details of the class. He'd walk right through the walls, leaving a debris field the size of a very large gorilla. My GM required me to spend 2 extra levels of XP for literally everything to make up for not having the prerequisite intelligence to even make the class. It was a long campaign, needless to say, but there were certain boons. I mean, can you even imagine the conversations among guards and captains when they chased him through the halls of a palace, only to reach a dead end and not a single trace of him? What do you mean you've lost him? The guy's 11 feet tall. This isn't a peck of fucking peanuts, you know. The whole place shakes when he's running. Well, sir, we're on the south wing and there's no passage, no secret doors, and he's just gone. Yeah, as the levels grew, so did the powers, abilities, and it was definitely worthy of notice. Half-ogres are tanks, pretty much no matter how you do it, but having a super stealth at will type of tank was friggin' awesome when it worked, and friggin' hilarious when it didn't. Winky face with a nose. Like your style, OP. I wanted to play a Transformer, so I created a Warforged Druid. Hell yeah. Warforged for being the closest to a robot race, Druid for the animal transformation. Druids can change into multiple animals, but I limited myself to one for roleplay purposes. That animal was a rhinoceros, and his name was Rhinox. I actually had the Rhinox, Beast Wars Transformer toy as a kid. It was a big one. God, I love that thing. I played with it for hours, weeks, months. My original version was made in an earlier edition and got to the point where he could transform at will as a bonus action. Every time he would transform, I made the iconic Generation 1 sound effect with my mouth. Mine would have to be my evocation wizard goblin named Fritz. Actually, calling her Fritz is slightly off, as she is a clone of the original. They all are. Fritz was once a normal goblin wizard who, by unfortunate circumstances, was killed just as she had become enveloped by fire. Her dearest friend managed to take a snapshot of her consciousness and attempted to create a clone. However, the snapshot was taken at just the wrong moment, as the thought of fire had consumed her. Upon the creation of the clone, her friend realized the mistake, and in his rush to reverse the process, accidentally overloaded the machine. Now there are 60,000 copies, each of varying power, but all completely mad and obsessed with fire. She uses no spells except those of fire nature and will self-destruct should she die. I am up to Fritz number 5 so far. William Bonzo Bone, a bugbear orphaned when his mom and tribe failed a raid on a university that just so happened to have a partnership with a thieves guild. When scouting the empty forward camp, he was discovered by the rogues, who asked, "Should we kill it?" The accompanying professors said, "Yes, it's in its nature to do evil. One can't escape their nature." Rogues got defensive about this and said society is what made people evil. Eventually, the professor of bardic and entertainment studies put his oversized foot down before the professors died and said he'll raise the boy. The rogues were cowed by the Thieves Guild's second-in-command going Mama Bear and siding with Sir Reginald Bone. Raised on bard stories, theater, and more incorrect textbooks than you could shake a stick at, was going for turn-of-the-century academia with a greater focus on prestige of author than correctness. He barely managed to graduate from the academy with his high charisma and focus on bardic extracurriculars. He went into acting and made it big on stage, then tried to find himself in the circus as a clown. When that failed, he got some rudimentary training from the Thieves Guild to prepare himself to meet his people. He also studied up as much as he could on their bear religion. He realized it was all hooey, hung with them to get his barbarian levels, and then came back to the university to act as head field agent, and became a professor before joining the party to see if that could ease his early midlife crisis. He's a bear totem barbarian with a few levels in thief and the actor background. His fan letter is a yet undeciphered message from his master thief / mama bear, telling him how proud she is of him. Highlights include smashing a captive goblin's head against the wall for being a Philistine, satisfying an Epicurean question on the flavor of elves.
Drow are filled with poison, right? So regular elf liver probably tastes better.
Outside of party earshot, dragging a drow into an underground river and drowning him, using a grappling hook as an improvised weapon. At level 8, 3 rogue, 5 barbarian, I had to retire him so I could take over as DM. Story-wise, he had to go back to the university and teach a semester, or he'll lose his shot at tenure. Love it. Hello, my sweet little cosmic cupcakes of infinite cosmic kindness, and thank you for frosting our feed with your thick saccharine attention, and of course, for doing so till the very end of the video. Just wanted to thank our sponsor again, Craig's Cottage. Please check out them D-bags and swaddle your math rocks and some of that primo Rip Daddy approved swagger. Quick reminder to please join our subreddit, r/MrRipper, if you want to share your stories with us. But as always, you can leave a comment on this video if you have a particularly bizarre race class backstory in mind. If you're a DM or a player looking for a group, please consider checking out Mr. Ripper's Group Finder Discord server. We have over 1,700 members in there at the time of writing this outro, and somebody out there wants to roll some dice with you. If you think I'm nice, it would help me if you were to check out my website, www.davemakesnoises.com, or follow me on Instagram, Dave Makes Noises, of course. I think that's all for announcements today, kiddos. Thank you again for watching. Please sub for Nat 20s. You are loved, and you are worthy, and we'll see you in a couple days. Mwah.